What is going on? So I have here one of my absolute favorite folding knives. This is the Protech Mordax. Now I can just say that this knife is absolutely amazing and it checks almost nearly every single box. It is very obviously designed to be used heavily. So let's go into what makes this knife so special. So let's talk a little bit about the specs. So the blade is a drop point 20 CV stonewashed blade, which is pretty slicey. The edge comes down to a nice fine edge. 20 CV is one of my favorite blade steels. It is known to be extremely hard, and it is known to be able to hold an extremely fine edge better than any other steel. Also, if you didn't know, 20 CV is pretty much exactly the same as M390. And then we have the blue aluminum scales, which are extremely ergonomic, and I do like the color, to be honest. We have the Torx head hardware screws. I think the pivot is a T8 and the body screws are T6s, it looks like. We have the Ferrum Forge design logo right there. So this is a collaboration between Protech and Ferrum Forge. Protech did produce these knives, but these are designed by Ferrum Forge. And if you're familiar with Ferrum Forge, then you could tell that this is very similar to their designs. And if you're familiar with Protech, then you know that they primarily make automatic knives, other than their Protech Malibu and this Protech Mordax here, which you can get both in a few different variations, different scale colors, different texturing options on the handle, all of which do come with the 20 CV blade, I'm pretty sure, and the stonewashed blade. This is the older model. I do believe that they have recently come out with an upgraded version of this exact knife with, I believe, Magna Cut steel, which is a little bit of an upgrade on the steel. I think Magna Cut is very similar to 20 CV, except for it has a few properties that are better. So the blade is primarily deployed with this here flipper tab. It is the traditional Ferrum Forge flipper tab, which does work very well. The blade flies open with very little effort. Now you can also use the button to deploy the blade, which is also very easy and satisfying. So the action on this knife is absolutely phenomenal and is probably the smoothest action I have ever felt on a single folding knife. I mean, that's not like, the blade is of course drop shut. That is to be expected from button locks, and that's nothing new for button lock knives, but I have handled a lot of different button lock knives, and there is indeed something special about this one and the action. Now, a couple complaints I do have about this knife is that there is a tiny bit of lock stick on the button lock, but it is very small amount of lock stick, and personally I don't really care about it. I have heard other YouTubers talk about this problem about the Mordax, but it's very subtle. Like, it does have that little break, but I kind of like it. It kind of signifies that the blade is nice and locked up and it's not going anywhere until you intentionally press this button. And then once you do press it, the blade drops shut with ease. The pocket clip on here is designed perfectly. It is a nice deep carry pocket clip. The clip and screws are recessed into the scale, which allows for very little friction when going in and out of the pockets. Now, the ergonomics on this knife are 10 out of 10, truly. It feels very nice in the hand. We have the finger choil, which offers more choking up for precise cutting. It feels comfortable in just several different grips. The aluminum feels very smooth, but just the chamfering of the scales allows it to still feel very secure in the hand, despite the smoothness of the aluminum scales. But the newer Magnet Cut version, they have a different milled, textured scale that just looks perfect. It's very like a light hex pattern milling. See if I can get a picture and put it on the screen. So I really only have one other complaint about this knife. Truly one of the best folding knives I have ever handled. But one thing I do not like is the aluminum coated finish on the handle. It looks very nice, it feels nice, but it does take snail trails or scuffs very easily. So if you do want to buy this knife, expect it to get a lot of little scuffs and scratches very early on. Just kind of probably embrace it, because it's gonna happen. There's really no avoiding it. Like, just carrying this in your pocket with any other item is probably going to scuff up the scale just a little bit. So keep this in mind if you want to spend the money on one of these. Personally, not a huge deal. They could have fixed this issue by using like titanium, anodized titanium, instead of coated aluminum. But then I think it would have made the knife a little more heavy, and that's one thing that is, and that is another thing that is very cool about this knife, is that it's just extremely lightweight. It's surprisingly lightweight, and that is partially due to the aluminum. It would probably be an ounce to 2 ounces heavier with titanium scales. Let me know what you think of this badass button lock folding knife in the comments. Let me know what your favorite button lock folding knife is. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my daily EDC content.